G'day folks, Jason, Nick here on the udder farm. It's actually only a minute today guys, Nick's at work, so we're actually on the trial property today guys. What I want to talk about today is we actually brought our girls back in from the udder farm. So as you know from previous videos, the girls have been out there being put over the bull for the last 60 days. And a lot has happened in that last 60 days. As you know from previous videos, we've had 2 floods over this property. So the general content or discussion today is going to be what the girls have gone into since they've gone back, what they've laid over and what I've left behind, and what they're going into moving forward. And we'll have a quick discussion around the floods guys as well, and what it's done to the property. So without further ado guys, I'll lay this hose down. I've got the hose because at this moment we're moving water to their cells on a daily basis. As you know with cell grazing, you've got to have water, moving them twice a day, and you've got to have water in those cells. So that's why I've got the hose if you're wondering over my shoulder. So without further ado guys, we'll move these girls and get into the discussion. Rightio, come on girls. Come on girls. Come on girls. Come on girls. Good boy. Just have a look where they're chewing guys. It's that maize there. Minnie's just smashing that maize off. That maize would not have been on this property 3 years ago when I started this, before I started this regenerative farming guide, because it is not the monoculture that is generally on this property when I bought it. A lot of it was just Rhodes grass, and that was it. Bit of clover, not much. I introduced a bit of clover from the house paddock, from the house actually when I was mowing. This would not have lasted. I would have rounded up this, because glyphosate back then was in. You'd kill everything with glyphosate. You know, that was a weed. If it didn't look like the Rhodes grass that I had, it was gone. But now, bring on plant diversity guys. You need the plant diversity. You know, to capture, like, that's a lot taller plant. That's going to catch a lot more sunlight, carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than this lower grass. And also, not only that, that root depth on that plant would generally would be at a different depth than this grass here. This is a shallow grass. That would be a lot deeper rooted, which means you're now utilizing the nutrients deeper in the soil than what you would have got with just a monoculture. You're getting at various depths now, which you wouldn't have had previously, and she is just smashing that. So what I did before they come back guys, I had a few of these other areas of maize further up the property, and I took those seed heads off. I didn't want to waste them, and I put them, let them dry out, and then I spread them over the paddock. But if you don't get a bit of follow-up rain to push that into the ground and a bit of impact from the cattle, it's not going to germinate. But what this does is those seeds pass through those 4 digestive chambers of those animals, and when they poo them out guys, when they discrete them out, that seed gets germinated. It's got all the fertilizer it needs within that poo. It's got the moisture for up, you know, a week longer. So they're spreading that seed now across the paddock, which gives me plant diversity. I dug that out when I first bought the property, and it shot back. But then I've since found out, I haven't actually got the name on hand, but they actually plant this out west. Rows and rows, paddocks and paddocks of it. It's really high in protein, and it grows like a bush, and the cows come along and chew all those leaves off, and it really grows back fast and thick. So that's another one that I tried to remove from the property, but I couldn't get rid of. I'm glad I didn't guys, because I wouldn't have had that plant diversity. And as you can see, Rainey went straight for that. She is just smashing the leaves off that bush. So they know what's good for them guys. We'll go over here. You know, I know I've got that much grass at the moment because yesterday when we were looking at them, they're actually chewing grass. They're that excited. They're actually taking mouthfuls of grass without even realizing they're walking on and taking another mouthful, and that grass is falling out in their mouth. They're not even chewing it or swallowing it before they take another mouthful guys. So that's how excited they are to be on this, in the regenerative paddock. So they know where they come from, out at the udder farm where it's continually grazed. They just haven't got this guys. It's like 4 inches off the ground, and they are holding every mouthful they can and swallowing it down because they don't know where the next mouthful's coming from. Look at Pip here. She is just, hello Pip Pip. Yesterday we look at them, they just had mouthfuls of grass, looking up, moving along, you know, and then it'd fall out the mouth. I think Pippi's going to lose a bit here, but she's happy to go over and start grazing that bit of grass. There's a bit hanging out of the mouth, and that just falls out, guys. You know, look, there it goes. She's not worried because she's got that much more to choose from. She's that excited. And like I said, when it comes to, when you put them in a cell and you mob graze them, it becomes a competition, guys. They're going round picking the best pasture they can because they know if they don't get it, the other cows will. So they're not staying in one area long enough. They're moving on because they want to get to the better pasture before the other cows do. And that's what you need, the competition. That way they're generally eating grasses and weeds, which they generally wouldn't eat. So that's an advantage, guys. And they're trampling down because they're always on the move. They're trampling the grass down and adding carbon back. I'll show you areas they've been into in comparison. Like, you can see that there. That's up to under Rainy's belly. There's areas further up the paddock where it's full of Rhodes grass, and Rhodes grass predominantly grows a lot higher than the bluegrass, and it's up to 1.5 meters. I'll cover that when they get up there in another video, but this is an area I'm going to give them all day, guys. So it's probably, we're looking at maybe, I'd say 20 meters by 25 meters, which then calculates out to around about, I think it's about 60 to about 75 foot in area. So this will do them 12 hours. We'll come back this afternoon, I'll show you what they've laid down. Okie dokie, we'll jump over this fence, this polywire, and we'll have a look where they come out of last night and have a discussion of where they've been over the last 3 days. You can have a look, guys. There's a lot of grass still left here. You know, that's a lot of grass still left. And as you can see, around here, that was the height they come into it. So that's 42 inches high, that hot wire there. So I've got a hot wire, it's not on, good about sure. That hot wire is 42 inches high, and that's well and truly above that hot wire. So as you can see down there, guys, they've laid a lot down. They've laid all this down. You know, there's a lot of matting there. I would have, when I first started, before I started regenerative farming, I would have panicked on all this grass height. You know, my thought of this much grass on the ground is it's too thick, it's going to waste, it's not getting used, it's sitting here, the sun's not going to get through to the dirt, it's going to kill everything because the sun can't penetrate that dirt to get growth back. That's the total opposite, guys. That there is beneficial armor on the soil now, guys. It will die underneath, but that's adding back that needed topsoil that you require. And that green growth, that's still catching sunlight and carbon dioxide and pumping it through to the ground to feed those microbiologies, guys. You know, I would have panicked and I would have put a tractor over this and slashed it as low as I could to the ground, because I was worried about everything that's going to die off. It's too thick, what a waste. But now, guys, I get excited. It is a lot of grass left behind, but that's not wastage, guys. That's adding that beneficial topsoil back when it decomposes, guys, which in the long term helps you hold that water longer. When it rains, it doesn't run off. And not only is it holding that rain, more rain in the ground, what it does, the main thing it does is it adds that armor, that layer of protection over the top of the soil, so when you do get rain, it's not evaporated by the sunlight, guys. Now this is thick armor. You can imagine how long it would take the sun to penetrate that. Now it's laid down on the ground. But not only that, guys, you go through the thatch, it's thick. You know, there's layers and layers. This is where I had the bow grazing. I had 2 layers down. Look, and it's thick thatch. I can dig down there, guys, and that's an inch of thatch. And it's wet underneath from that rain, guys. Not an inch of thatch, you know, but that's going to add back. All that there will not penetrate through, guys. You know, I get excited, guys, because, you know, I've gone down this path, you know, over 2 years now, and this property has come leaps and bounds. And because you're leaving so much behind, they've laid a lot down, but you've a lot of green growth. So it's not going to take long to recover, guys. I'm expecting 35 days, 45 days on this. I think we've got follow-up rain coming on the weekend, and that'll even add to it. Not that we need it. Those two floods, this ground saturated. It's going to be more runoff. But what it has done, guys, is it's given that boost because there's a lot more moisture that's penetrated deeper now in the ground. So we're coming on to winter now. We're getting cooler afternoons, and the grass growth is going to slow down, but at least you've got that water there when it's required during that winter months. We're expecting to see a lot more clover coming now because obviously it's a cool season's grass. You know, here they've only tipped the top off. They've been more than the tip. This was a metre high pasture, so it's a lot different than the stuff we come out of. That just lays down easy. It's a lot thinner. This is a lot broader leaf, and the stem's a lot thicker as well. So it stands up a lot more vertical, doesn't lay down, but as you can see, they have laid a lot down. And as you can see, the brown thatch underneath is from 2 years worth of bringing them through. But as you can see, they haven't eaten. I thought they would have eaten more. But I'll show you what's happened, guys. That floods. You can see, if I have a close look through here, you can see the stain, the mud stain. I don't know if you can see that in the video, guys. That's slightly brown. So all this was underwater. What they've done is they've eaten the regrowth, which was green grass, off the top. They have come through and eaten some of that brown, which has got the sediment stains on it. So I was a little bit worried that they wouldn't. They haven't eaten it all, but I'm not too worried because as what they've done, as you can see, they've laid, I reckon if you have a good look through here, I reckon they've laid down 30% of this stained sediment grass from the floods. So that 30%, and we'll add that carbon back and it'll regrow to all green. You know, it may take 6 months, 12 months to fully recover. So what is still standing, that is stained from the floods, it'll have that green growth back. They'll chew it off again. They mightn't chew where it's stained, but they will lay down different areas. So over 6 months, they may get all that laid down back onto the ground. What the neighbour's done over there, guys, you should be able to notice the difference. But if I just go there, check out the paddock here, mine, you can see it's slightly tarnished or dim compared to the glossy nature next door. So that's the staining from the floods. What she done next door, she runs horses and a couple of head just to put in the freezer. But see how lush that is. What they had a slasher come in and slash that down. That's why that is a lot greener than my side of the fence here, which is still stained from the sediment. There's a slash. The beneficial of slashing, yes, has got rid of that tarnish. The cows would eat all that. But my thoughts were, when you get it slashed, you're not exciting the plant. When the cows come through here and pull this grass out with their tongue, that sends root exudates down into that plant because it's thinking it's getting pulled out. It wants to live. So it sends root exudates, which excite the microbiology to work overtime to grab the nutrients to recover this plant, then pushes the root down deeper to hold itself in the soil. So with deeper rooting system, you're getting nutrients from a different level. And that's what you're after, guys. You want to excite that plant, force it to grow. It grows back thicker, faster than slashing it. But you slash it, you're better off slashing grass if you haven't got fencing or cattle on it when it comes to seed. And that'll add that armour, thicken the soil from the seed you're laying over. But you do that if you haven't got cattle. That's the next best thing. You don't want to let it die. You want to keep it in a vegetative state. So we'll have a look at a few of these areas here, guys. Have a look at this. This is, you know, there's the grass they've left. There's previous time, it's got a bit of green growth in it. We'll part that off. There's the dead growth from the time before. Keep going right down there. There's more dead growth. Oh, I can go right down more, and that's probably the first time I'm getting the soil there, guys. That would have to be the thickest part on the property here because it runs through this gully, so it gets the most water. So I reckon it has to be 1.5 inches of dead matter, and then an inch and a half of dead matter at the point of turning into soil, and then you've got 1 inch of thatch previously, twice they've been through, and then this new thatch which is adding on top. So this recovers fast, guys, before anything else. So this regenerative farming, guys, I tell you, I get excited. I can't wait to get my fencing system, watering system out there on the other farm, because it's going to be amazing, guys. We've got a bit of dieback here from the floods. So we have had in areas, this had different pasture in it. And this didn't, come back from the floods. The rest of it did, but this had dieback, so obviously it couldn't sustain being underwater for 5 days. Then a month later, it all got inundated with water again for another 5 days. So where the floods come up to, guys, you see the staining on that tree. So it was 3/4 way at that tree. So my fence line up the top there was underwater. That horse shed had a metre through it. So my whole property here was underwater. The house up there was only a metre from the going through the floorboards. So all this was underwater, guys. Righto folks, it's the afternoon now, the sun's going down. It's been, I'd say 10 hours now these girls have been in here. So if you have a look, compared to earlier on in the video, which was when we just moved them in here, have a look how much armour they put down. Have a look around. This was tall grass. You can see the dog there. It's not a tall dog, so you know they've probably got maybe a foot left. See through here, there's a foot of standing grass. But have a look at the thatch. All of it has been laid down. All this has been laid down, guys. Look, this is going to break that sap cycle and adding back. Some won't have broken the cycle, and some of that will they'll shoot back when it takes hold and get moisture in the sunlight, will stand it back up again. So it's not lost. Well, it never is lost. Whatever does die goes back to that armour, guys, builds that topsoil to be able to hold that water down the track. And this is that area maize that Minnie was chewing on before. So they smashed it. There's only one seed head left there and one there. All the rest is totally gone. So there's Min there, and there's those ones in front of it. Look, nothing. That's only just pure stem. You know, she nailed the leaves, the seeds are off. So now that's in the process of going for those digestive chambers and should be out the other end within 6 days. So 6 days they'll be further on the paddock where there's no maize, dropping those seeds and hopefully trampling it into the ground, getting good contact with that soil to be able to germinate. And there's that plant I was talking about that I try to get rid of. They smashed the leaves off that, and that is really high in protein. And over there, this is where Rainey was, just smashed it. It's only stems left, so that'll shoot back now. And they're the first 2 plants they nailed when I first let them in here, if you even recall back to that video. It's high in protein, guys. And then they come through and ate all this. Look at it, there's nothing left standing. Well, there is, it's the foot height that I try to keep, guys. Look, this one here, that'd be a foot high there now, 300 mil, a foot standing, and that's what I try and leave around the paddocks there. But have a look what they've done, guys. They smashed that armour down, building that topsoil back and arming the soil, guys. This is an awesome job. This is typical of what I would expect from the cows to do, and this is what they do on a daily basis, guys. You know, they've got mouthfuls of grass, happy to eat. They're not walking around foraging. It's right there in front of them, putting on energy. Like I said, you'll be surprised how much condition they were put on. I've done a video on condition when I first brought them on here, 3 days ago, because they lost condition from being out the other farm, continually grazing, where the forage isn't thick, they're walking kilometres. So stay tuned for that video. I'm going to do it in a month and a half time and then put condition back on. But well, that's it, guys. That's all the area. This morning I had on video and showed you guys how long it was. Now look at it. It's either a foot high or it's laid over, adding that thatch. So what we're about to do now, guys, we're going to move them through that cell into the next paddock for tonight. So this is where they're going into now, over into there. So this is the end of it, and that's what I set up this morning. So they're going into this here, and a lot of that there, that's a metre high there. The rest of it's probably 2.5 foot, and then they'll go down the driveway the next morning. Righto, guys, that's probably the end of today's discussion. What I'll do is I'll let them in this new area for tonight, and that's it. Right, girls. Come on, girls. Righto, guys, on that note, we'll finish up. Hope you have an awesome evening, terrific morning, and a great afternoon, guys. Where are you watching this from? And we'll catch you later.